The morning Emily Rhodes spotted her CEO sleeping on a park bench. She made a choice that would alter both their lives forever. She placed a sandwich beside him and walked away in silence. Central Park, 6:47 a.m. The city wore that muted gray light that made even broken things feel possible again. For 3 years, Emily had walked this path to work past the fountain, around the joggers, through the iron gate leading to the subway. She was the kind of woman who noticed details. The damp echo of her steps on pavement, the empty benches. Tucked in shadow, the way she could move through her entire office unnoticed, her name remembered by only a handful. At Hayes Group Logistics, Emily Rhodes was invisible. 29, soft-spoken, 5'4", she carried the kind of quietness that made people overlook her. She kept accounts precise, corrected other people's mistakes, and ate her lunch alone with novels about women who changed the world. That Tuesday, she noticed him. A man curled tightly on a stone bench, expensive coat rumpled, his dark hair matted, a wild beard spreading across his face. One arm tucked under his head as if bracing against the world, looked broken in a way. That drew her breath short. She recognized the stillness, the defensive posture the same she had learned after her mother's death. After debts piled up, after she realized survival often meant no one else was coming to save you, without hesitation, she reached into her bag, drew out her peanut butter sandwich and thermos of tea, and set them quietly beside him. Then she walked away, heart pounding harder than it should. She didn't know his eyes were already open. See him sit up slowly, gaze fixed on her simple offering. She couldn't know that the scar etched across his left hand was the very same. One stamped across company newsletters, with Jonathan Hayes' signature, the CEO who had vanished 3 weeks earlier. Sometimes the most powerful turning points come in moments we don't even witness. Sometimes kindness plants seeds in places we didn't realize were ready to bloom. Emily's desk was perfectly positioned for invisibility. 3rd row from the back, sandwiched between a dead filing cabinet and a humming copier. She liked it that way. From her corner, she could watch the corporate ecosystem play out. The boardroom dramas, the casual betrayals, the whispering alliances. That morning, the system was buzzing. "I heard he just lost it, walked out in the middle of the board meeting," Sandra from HR whispered. "No letter? No explanation? Nothing." Marcus from sales leaned in, smug. "My cousin at Goldman says Hayes hasn't returned a single call in weeks. Stock's down 12%. Emily's fingers hovered over her keyboard, her mind drifting. Back to the man on the bench. It's Jonathan Hayes. The Jonathan Hayes. She tried to concentrate on quarterly reports, but she couldn't shake the image of scuffed Italian shoes and shoulders rising and falling in uneasy sleep. By noon, Darren Cook materialized at her desk, CFO, 41, with the smile of a man who liked mirrors better than people. "Emily, pull all of Jonathan's expense reports for the last 6 months. Full audit, end of day. Eyes cool. And this stays between us. Confidentiality." Then he was gone, leaving her staring at a blank screen, stomach knotted. A forensic audit meant war. Whatever drove Jonathan Hayes to sleep outside, it wasn't over. That evening, Emily took the long way home. The path wound through Central Park. He was there this time, sitting upright, face clean-shaven, but clothes the same. In the burnished light of evening, she finally saw his face clearly. The sharp angles once splashed across Forbes' cover's eyes, that had once built an empire, now dulled with exhaustion. She hesitated, then stepped closer. "Hi." He looked up, recognition sparking. "You're the sandwich angel, Emily." She sat at the far end of the bench, and you're John. A pause. Then a small, almost broken smile. "Now, John works." Silence stretched between them, but it wasn't uncomfortable. For Emily, small talk had always been impossible. Yet here words seemed to come easier. "I used to come here with my mother every Sunday," she said. "Parks are where the world slows down enough to let you breathe." "She sounds wise," he said, voice rough with disuse. "She was cancer. Took her when I was 22. Jonathan turned to face her fully. "I'm sorry. Too young. Too young to lose anyone." but especially your mom. She was the one who made everything make sense. After she died, I had to learn how to make sense on my own. Something shifted in his eyes, a recognition of old wounds. My mother died when I was 12. Hospital turned us away, no insurance. By the time someone helped, pneumonia became. He stopped, jaw tight. I swore I'd never be powerless again. But 3 weeks ago, when I realized everything I built could vanish overnight, I stopped trusting walls. At least out here I can see what's coming. Emily's heart clenched. For a moment, she saw not the CEO, not the scandal, but the boy who had been taught too early that the world could be cruel to the powerless. Is that why you built Hayes Group? To never be powerless again? He laughed without humor. Worked until I learned power's just another kind of prison. When the sun dipped low, Emily rose. Same time tomorrow? His smile was tired but genuine. If you don't mind keeping company with a washed-up businessman? She met his gaze. I don't mind the company of someone who understands what it feels like to lose the person who made everything make sense. That night, she lay awake thinking about corner offices that didn't cure loneliness, and about peanut butter sandwiches that could crack open walls built over years. She didn't know that while she was learning to see Jonathan as more than a CEO, someone else was ensuring he'd never reclaim the title. The email arrived the next morning, effective immediately. Jonathan Hayes has resigned. Darren Cook will serve as interim CEO. Emily reread the words until the letters blurred. Resigned. That wasn't resignation. It was erasure. The man she had been meeting every evening hadn't resigned anything. He had been dismantled piece by piece. Darren's voice carried from the boardroom. Sometimes the best way to remove an obstacle is to let it destroy itself. Emily's stomach twisted. That evening, she found Jonathan, pale and trembling. His breath was ragged. You saw the email, he murmured. Jonathan, you're sick. This isn't just exhaustion. He brushed it off, but Emily's resolve sharpened. You need a doctor. My doctor. No questions asked. She took him to Dr. Chen's community clinic. The diagnosis: walking, pneumonia, antibiotics, rest. Real rest. At the hotel. When Jonathan's ID slipped to the floor, the receptionist's eyes widened. You're Jonathan Hayes. But my brother works at your company. If you're here, then who's been running it? Cold realization hit Emily like ice. Later, while Jonathan slept, she opened her laptop. Hours of digging revealed a chilling truth. Darren had used Jonathan's access codes. His signature even forged board approvals. He'd rerouted assets, built shell companies, manipulated investors, even planted rumors of Jonathan's instability. It wasn't collapse, it was a coup, and Jonathan was its victim. By dawn, Emily had evidence enough to burn Darren's empire. But proof alone wasn't enough. She needed Jonathan to fight. Stop letting him write your story, she told him fiercely, showing him records, emails, timestamps. For the first time in weeks, Jonathan's eyes steadied. Shh. What do you need? Me to do? Together they planned. Jonathan would walk into the upcoming board meeting. Emily would keep collecting from the shadows, and when the moment came, the truth would be undeniable. Tuesday morning, rain slicked the city streets. Emily sat at her desk, evidence stored on a secure drive. At 10:17 a.m., Jonathan walked into the boardroom, sharply dressed, hair trimmed, posture steady. Gasps rippled. Darren went white. Ladies and gentlemen, Jonathan said evenly, there's been a mistake. I never resigned. I was defrauded by the man at this table. Emily watched from her invisible corner as documents changed hands, as Darren's composure cracked. Hours later, security escorted him out, his belongings stuffed in boxes. Jonathan approached her desk, eyes tired but alive. Unanimous. I'm reinstated, Darren's finished. But the board wants to meet you. Me, Emily stammered. Jonathan smiled. Oh, because without you, none of this happens. They know you're overqualified, you've just never claimed it. They want you as director of compliance. Panic flickered across her face. What if I fail? Jonathan leaned closer. Then you'll fail doing the right thing, which is better than succeeding at the wrong one.
Al,
That evening, at their bench, Jonathan brought deli sandwiches and flowers. "I have something for you," he said, handing her an envelope. Inside, a check, a signing bonus. She laughed, overwhelmed. "Haven't even said yes, haven't you?" He teased gently. Months later, Emily stood on a stage, unveiling Hayes Group's Second Chance Initiative, a program for people rebuilding their lives. "A year ago, I learned something about invisible people," she told the crowd. "We're not invisible because we don't matter. We're invisible because the world forgets to see us. Sometimes the greatest gift is to notice, to remind someone their story isn't over. It's just waiting for its next chapter." Jonathan watched from the front row, pride in his eyes. Their story had begun with a sandwich left on a bench. It was proof that small kindnesses can bloom into revolutions, that sometimes salvation begins with nothing more than seeing someone the world has chosen not to see.